So we are doing a little different of a format today. We're going to get cozy. You are sitting in my room with me and we're just going to have like a little heart-to-heart moment on just some things that have been like heavy on my mind lately. If you are new here, hello, welcome. And if you are returning, I am so sorry for my absence. I had a good flow going and I don't really know. No, I do know what happened. I'm not even going to lie. We are going to get real. We're going to get deep. We're going to get vulnerable today and just kind of have like a little heart-to-heart moment. Like I said, I'm just going to talk about some things and then also what my action plan is. And hopefully if you are also like a fellow entrepreneur or beauty industry professional, and maybe you've been struggling with this too, we can find support here and find a group of like-minded individuals who are just out here trying to crush it and trying to pursue our passions and build a life for ourselves and build a career based off of something that we love and that we're damn good at. I've been struggling a lot lately with a lot of like self-doubt and almost imposter syndrome. When I say that, I'm not saying it to like be like, oh, feel bad for me or whatever. I've been in this industry for over a decade and I know it's very common. The stats for this industry aren't great. Very few people who pursue cosmetology school finish. Of the people that finish, an even smaller percentage actually go through with taking state board exams and getting licensed. And then within the first 2 years within the industry, the percentage drops off even more from there. And then even less make it to the point that I'm at, where I've been in this industry for going on 14 years now. And that's like a long time to be in the same career. And, you know, I've done different subsects within the career. I was a employee stylist. I was a booth renter. I was an employee stylist again. I went solo and I have been solo for the last 3 years. And doing that, as amazing as it is and all the amazing perks that come with it, it can feel self-isolating and you can start to compare a lot because you don't have this big fancy salon and you don't have, you know, all these accolades because it's just you. Every review, every new client, every follower, any interaction you have with your business, it's all on you. And I chose that, and it's not a feel bad for me that I put all this weight on my shoulders, but it still can weigh on you. Pretty much I've just been having a little bit of self-doubt, feeling a bit of imposter syndrome, like who am I? Why do I think I still deserve to be on my own? Should I go back to a full salon? There's always the conversations around the economy's just bad right now. People's spending is bad right now. Consumer behavior is changing. And like, there's some truth within those things, but then also a lot of it is just like the normal chatter that does happen, especially in a service-based industry. Like anytime there's dips and ebbs and flows, everyone immediately jumps to blaming it on the economy. And 9 times out of 10, like it's just, that's not the only factor. And I know that, you know, even hearing the chatter, especially from more senior stylists, it's like hard to block it out sometimes. Hearing it from younger stylists, it gets hard to block it out sometimes. Just there can be a lot of noise and negativity. And by being on my own and feeling isolated, when I start to hear all the chatter, it doesn't really help. And then I almost revert more to just wanting to stay to myself, if that makes any sense. Yeah, there's just been just overwhelming feelings of, am I good enough? Is my time done? Is this a wrap? Should I pivot careers? But you know, I mean, I'm 30 years old. I have so much more of my life ahead of me. And I would really hate myself if I didn't give my everything to the one thing that I love so much and have been fighting to have be seen as a legitimate profession. Sorry, kind of rambling. I didn't do like a script or a real outline for this video. I just kind of put some key points that I just want to hit, and I'm just going to kind of work through this with you. So if I start to not make sense, hopefully in post, I can bring this together a lot better. I want this to almost feel like a little podcast vibe for this sit down. Yeah, I've laid out my problems and what's been weighing on me. And one thing about me is I can get in my head a lot, but realistically, if I just lay out how I'm feeling, what the solution to that problem is, and then how I can actually handle that, I know that just having that laid out in front of me is going to give me a lot of clarity and a sigh of relief. And then taking action on what I have laid out in front of me is going to be so much easier. And I'll feel a lot more focused for sure. Definitely a big thing I think I need to do that I've just lost somewhere along the way in this whole process of being a solopreneur is just rebuilding my self-confidence. Like I said, I am pretty isolated when I'm not with clients. It's like I'm either alone in my studio, I'm alone at home on admin days. If I have a content day like today where I'm filming, I'm going to be alone all day so that I can get the content done. Salon content days are more fun because I at least will have a model, and like that day is a little more engaging and interesting. All in all, like I'm a one-woman show over here. You can start to feel weighed down by a lot of the responsibilities, and I chose this hard, and that's my decision and my truth, and I stand 10 toes in it, and it's not a feel bad for me thing, but it's just a hard truth of the hard that I chose. So rebuilding confidence is definitely going to be a big first step, and it's unfortunately going to be a lot of faking it until I make it. I somewhere along the way have lost being my biggest cheerleader. I've just lost that, and I don't know why. There's really not a true reason. Maybe that's something I need to reflect on a little bit, but it is what it is. That being said, I think I also just need to get scrappy. I am somebody who has always been very hungry for my goals. If I see something I want, I'm going to figure out how to get to it. And like I said, I feel like I've just gotten lax in a lot of ways, and I need to get scrappy again. I need to rebuild my confidence. I need to start putting myself out there, getting out of my comfort zone, challenging myself to do things when I don't want to do things. Really, not necessarily do a business overhaul, but just really lean into the specialties that I want to focus on and restructure my business around those specialties so that I can just reframe the outside perspective of me and my business to combat the oversaturation feeling too of this market. I mean, the industry is growing, that's inevitable, but at the end of the day, there's nobody else in this industry who is me, and there's nobody else whose approach to hair is exactly the same as mine. There's nobody whose brain is exactly the same as mine, and I honestly have realized a lot over the last few weeks, and especially over this winter. I don't know if you feel this way too. If you live in a colder region, this winter has been like just a very rough winter. I always get a little down in the winter, and like something about it this year has really lit a fire in me of I want to lean into the interests and passions I had as a teenager that really made me, because I think that's part of why I was just so unapologetically myself at the time. I'm not gonna lie, I look back at her and like she was cool, she was fearless, she didn't take anything from anyone, she didn't care about things. I would love to have the certainty of myself that I have now, but with the energy and the gumption and the just ferocity that I had as a teenager. If I could like meld the two worlds, I want to just like really lean back into the cool creative things that did inspire me. Like I loved fashion, I loved makeup, I love YouTube. I am like an OG avid YouTube watcher. Like the beauty industry, the lifestyle girlies, all the silly, stupid videos that were like some of the OG first videos, like Numa guy. Like I love the internet, and I don't want to say dorky things, but I just love like niche things. And I want to lean into those interests and how I can make them fit into my inspiration banks and to help me rediscover my like zest for creating, I guess, more or less. I also just need to like go outside. When I have downtime at the salon, take a walk. I'm in a large plaza where there's other stores, there's other people. I could just pop into one of the stores and just introduce myself. And, that could lead to a connection, a relationship, a potential new client. I can go take a drive to get inspired. There's a little creek walk around the corner from my salon. I could just go down there and take a walk to just debrief for a little bit before a client if I have a larger gap and I don't want to do something administrative or like I'm feeling burnt out. On admin days, I totally could we live very close to our downtown. I could just walk downtown and go to a coffee shop, chat with the barista at the coffee shop, a random person next to me, and just be like, oh, hey, I hope you have a great day. Compliment a stranger, not to be fake, but to be like authentic and make genuine connections with people throughout the day. Those small conversations can lead to bigger opportunities. And that being said, I also just really feel like I need to lean into building my community. The more and more I talk to some of my other entrepreneur friends, I feel like we all feel similarly about our industries and just how people move locally in our industries. And people I look up to, I genuinely try to look outside of my area. I don't want to be like the salon down the street. I don't want to be like the stylist across the hall. I find inspiration in other industries as well as other stylists from other cities. And it doesn't even have to be like a big city. I really need to build a community of people that not only inspire me, but also challenge me and hold me accountable. So when I say I'm going to do something, like I have to follow through on it, because I'm not just letting myself down at that point, I'm letting somebody else down. And like along the way in all of that, I do think I need to sit down and really like unpack and discover what my blind spots are. I know a lot of them, honestly, at this point, and I just really need to just get out of my own way. It's going to come up a lot as I'm talking through this. I really need to like zero in on what my blind spots are, and then really dive into like, is this something that I'm able to do and I have the bandwidth to do and I just need to learn how to do it more efficiently? Or is this something that I need to start making sure I can allocate a budget for so that I can delegate it to somebody else, because I just cannot be bothered. And I know there's like a whole conversation to be had about like AI right now and stuff, and I have my own feelings about that, but like you can't just rely on like tech. You still do need to employ at some point and start hiring or contract out a freelancer or something, because you can't do it all. And I think that's been a really hard thing for me to come to terms with, because my Gemini ass is stubborn and will happily just suffer in silence and, you know, wait until someone asks to take something off my plate instead of offering somebody to take it off my plate. Like I will figure it out myself before I ask for help. And this is in like all areas, not even just work. Like I had a cabinet that I had to put together, and instead of asking for help, I just figured it out. Same with when I had to hang a mirror in my old salon location. I had asked my boyfriend if he would come do it, and then I was like, you know what? No, I'll figure it out myself. Never mind. I don't even think I ended up texting him if he could do it. I just kind of got the mirror and then was like, I'll figure this out. And then I did. Honestly, I did a good job. So I just really need to get out of my own way. I don't know if you struggle with this as well, but like as much as I can be my biggest cheerleader at times, I can also be my biggest like hold up and my biggest deterrent from doing things. Maybe that's where I feel I need to lean more into my younger self and be able to like be more vulnerable and put myself out there and challenge myself more or something, but something's got to give, you know? Okay, so I've addressed my problems and the things that have been weighing on my mind, and I know what the solutions are to those problems, but like, how do I get there? How do I make the first move? How do I take the first step? How do I get out of my own way? I do need to start creating sustainable habits that just, no matter what I'm doing in a day, my business has to come first and nothing else can happen until I've taken care of myself and taken care of my business. I'm somebody who starts the day at the gym. My boyfriend and I go to the gym every morning during the week, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. We want to be there as soon as the doors open so we can get our workout in, come home, eat, both of us can get ready for work and get on with our day. That is in a pretty good flow again. We had a difficult time during the holidays for sure, but I feel like that happens to a lot of us. But we've been doing a really good job of, we hit the ground running at the beginning of this year and it feels good, and we just want to keep up this momentum. We've only really had a couple days here and there that we've fallen off, but it was more of like out of necessity, like we needed sleep. We're good about that. So that's like my me time to get grounded. I move my body for the day and it feels great. I usually feel really good when we come back, and then I'm able to be clear-headed for the rest of the day and can just focus on the things I need to do and focus on work. And I know my workout's out of the way. I know my morning is set and I'm in the right state of mind to start just crushing everything else. Now, the bigger issue that I have, and I know a lot of us struggle with, is the doom scrolling. I waste so much time on scrolling. I've even put timers on my phone and like the alerts to like log me off of Instagram after my time. Like I have the time cutoffs and stuff and all my time limits. And honestly, I think I really need to get one of those phone blocks, because I just cannot be accountable in this moment to just not scroll. Or I'll remember something I need to do on social and it's like I'll go to make a post and then I'm scrolling for 10 minutes and then I remember, oh yeah, I needed to make a post. That's why I opened this in the first place. And then it's been 30 minutes and then I'm like, oh shit. And then, you know, I'm wasting another like 15, 20 minutes because I didn't plan anything. And then I'm trying to make a post and it's just like, it turns into a whole thing. So I need to stop with scrolling. I also need to get better with when I make a content plan to stick to it. And that's just its own whole beast that needs to be tackled. I enjoy creating content, but then sometimes I just get a brain block when it comes to posting. And I think I just have been overthinking it lately, and I've been more worried about like aesthetics than about converting content. And when I say converting content, I don't just mean like clicks to follows. I mean converting content that will turn a follower into a paying client, someone who actually books a service with me. I don't know why I just keep running into crazy brain blocks with not knowing what to post. And I think I really need to get out of my own way with that and just start taking chances, start strategically throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. Not being afraid to put myself out there more, not being afraid to talk to the camera more. I can sit down and film these YouTube videos, but then when it comes to filming something for my hair page, I just blank. So I need to just do it and stop saying I'm going to do it. And I can keep planning and planning and planning and planning the perfect content calendar, but if I'm not making posts, then there is no purpose to the content calendar. So I guess another habit would be taking messy action. I need to be moving the needle forward. If you're a business owner, you've definitely heard the expression like move the needle forward every day. And what that essentially means is you're going to accomplish at least one task a day that adds some form of momentum to your business, whether it's organization, whether it is marketing, or whether it is conversion of a client or like something that produces money for the business. That is like a non-negotiable, needs to happen, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Also, going back to the social media thing, social media is not really the enemy. It's just having more strategic social media time. How am I using the time that I'm on my phone? I can't just be scrolling and watching other people's content and consuming. I should be either producing content, engaging with my followers, responding to comments on a former post, or answering DMs. And if I'm not doing one of those things or connecting with like another business or something, I don't need to be on there. And I really think those are like hard rules to just have set, at least for the time being. And honestly, it's important to make sure that there's at least a chunk of time in the morning and a chunk of time in the evening that I'm touching my business in some way. My hands need to be on my business in some way, shape, or form outside of me doing hair for a chunk of time in the morning and a chunk of time in the evening, even if that's only a half hour, an hour in the morning, and a half hour or an hour in the evening before I wind down for the night. So how are we going to go about building these habits and establishing them and making sure that we are staying true to them and being accountable for the actions that we have promised ourselves? The first step is going to be by reflecting. I want to take a look at the last 30 days on all fronts. How many new clients did I see? How did I get those clients? Have I lost any clients? Why did I lose those clients? Is it a typical, like, I only see them every so often? Or is this they've moved on, something happened, I don't know what happened, I need to correct that moving forward. I need to reflect on that. I also need to reflect on like my social strategy. What worked? What didn't work? Marketing effort, my newsletters, what's my click-through open rate, my marketing emails from my POS system. I want to explore broadcast channels for my business. What does that look like? I have my business Instagram page as well as like my hair page. That's like my portfolio of my work. How do I want to incorporate the studio page? Because it is a completely different piece of my business from me. You know, there's me, the stylist, but then my business is its own, it breathes its own life, and my clients are the heartbeat of that. How do I want that to look? Essentially, I'll be reflecting on this whole quarter and just doing like a WBMC. If you've never done that before, you make like a table of what's working, what's missing, what's broken, and what's confusing. And then you go through the broken, missing, and confusing components, and you will figure out like, okay, is this something that I can do, or do I need to delegate it? If it's something I can do, what do I need to learn so that I can do this correctly? If it's broken, why is it broken? What needs to be corrected or adjusted? Again, do I need to learn something to correct or adjust this? And then if it's confusing, that just means I need to learn more about it. So yeah, look back at quarter one, do my WBMC, and then start brainstorming my Q2. I need to pick a focus. So whether that's going to be organization, marketing, building clientele, whatever that is going to be for the next 3 months, I need to make sure I am focused on that goal for the next 3 months. And then from there, I will come up with some projects that are centered around that focus and that are going to move the business forward. And then each project I will break down into the most minute task on what needs to be done to achieve that, and then start assigning timelines to those tasks and projects. Also, I need to look at the following week's schedule And if there are gaps or if there are weird holes in my schedule, or if there's days where there's just nothing booked altogether, I need to start filling that week before, not waiting until 2 days before to be like, oh shit, I have a 2 hour gap. What do I do? Fill it ahead of time. Stop being lazy. I needed to hear this. Wow. When I play this back to edit, this is going to be kind of crazy. I'm like taking myself to church right now. So yeah, just being strategic in my schedule and planning ahead and not scrambling at the last minute to try to like resolve an issue. And then also like taking a walk, not being afraid to talk to strangers. I need to commit to putting myself out there like online and like physically putting myself out there and commit to it. And it's going to be uncomfortable and it's going to be awkward, but the only way to get better is to do it. So yeah, I don't know what like bigger message to say other than that. I mean, you know, if you're a fellow entrepreneur or a business owner and you've been just feeling heavy lately and feeling uncertain about things, just know you're not alone. And even if listening to me ramble gave you a little bit of peace, hopefully it inspired you a little bit on what you can focus on within your business, even if you're not a hairstylist. Like, I think we all have those little things that we don't prioritize or happily distract ourselves from, and then we think about it afterwards and are like, what are you doing? And we have to have that like hard look in the mirror with ourselves and be like, you know, figure it out, because no one's going to come bail you out. You need to bail yourself out. I hope we can all take something away from this ramble. And I think this is going to be the start to I know I always say I'm going to start a series, but I think this might be a start to a bigger series on being a business owner. We'll see. We'll see what this turns into. But thank you for joining me today. Like I said, let's chat in the comments. If anything I've mentioned in this video resonates with you, or something you've thought about yourself, or maybe you're pursuing a business venture and you're like nervous, this is a safe space to talk about that. Ownership can be scary. Entrepreneurship can be scary, but it really doesn't have to be alone. I think I've been embracing the lonely a little too much, and I'm coming out of it. Like, I understand the importance of having community, whatever that looks like, grand scale. Thank you for joining me. If you want to see my face again on your screen, click the subscribe button, and I'll be hanging out in the comments down below. I am committing to this channel. I'm back. I'm feeling good, and I have a lot of cool stuff planned to be continued on that. I'm just gonna leave it there. Things are going to change up a little bit. Okay, maybe I'm gonna rant a little bit more. I got clarity on where I want this channel to go and the type of content that I think could be useful on here. I'm excited to start exploring that, and can't wait for you to join me along the journey. If you've been subscribed, thank you for your patience with me as I've been figuring my life out. And if you're a new subscriber, welcome. I hope you enjoy. I'll see you in the next one.